It is book club time.
It is.
First Thursday of every month, the Blue Couch Book Club is going to be gathering here, chatting about our book from the past month and also unveiling that new read. We want to welcome in Kyle Turman of Werner Books, our partners in all of this. Hi, Kyle.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing great. Doing good.
I get as excited for this book club as I do my girls' book club. So it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too.
So we are talking about The Bullet Swallower.
Yes.
And remind our viewers of why you picked this book.
So when we were going through, it was recommended by my staff, which they tend to do most of the work behind the scenes. I think as everyone who hasn't watched has figured out, Abby and Caitlin do a lot of the. Hey, Kyle.
You're just the pretty face on camera.
I'm the talent, right? But they recommended it because we thought, oh, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. This is a book by a Latina author, and we thought, oh, let's go for it. And following along on the Facebook, I know it was a kind of a tough read for everyone. I know people, but I thought that, for a family drama and, the time jumps and there was a lot in there.
And also, I think because it was the month of October, which is the spooky season,
Yes.
there was a bit of a perhaps paranormal theme to it running through it, and that really kind of came through at the end, talking about parallel universes or things happening all at the same time.
Well, and there's a big tradition in especially Hispanic authors of like magical realism, right? This idea of using magic throughout. So one of the, as we talked about it, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who's kind of one of the famous authors of this genre, right? These long family sagas that have magic weaved into them. And, as my wife and I talked about this book, we were just like, oh, this is like, this author has read Marquez. She's like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it gave me like Coco vibes or even, what's the new one? Encanto vibes a little bit, because it had a main theme was family and tradition and legacy and heritage, and so it was giving kind of those vibes, which are very true in those Disney movies as well.
And you'll see that in a lot of things that come out of Latin America,
and also redemption. I like the theme of redemption that kind of ran through. At first, it was kind of difficult to understand what's going on, and then all of a sudden, it all starts to click, and then you're kind of invested in this family. It's like, I need to know what happens and how this all ties together, and the family struggle, and it was really, really interesting to have it all come together and make sense.
Yes, and that's what I heard from a lot of people was the ending kind of kept them going, and that's I think key, going as you're kind of moving through it is like, okay, is the payoff there?
Yeah,
and the payoff was there, right? Because I always get frustrated when there's a book without a payoff.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I wasted all this time. There was a book I read years ago. I'm not going to name it because I want to name it, but it was 700 pages, and I invested all the way to the end of the book, and I went, there was no payoff. So disappointing.
No. I also liked how there were those Spanish words kind of trickled throughout with no real context, so you kind of had to figure out what it was.
Yeah, there was for me as I read it, there was a lot of like, what is that? I don't know this word. I don't speak Spanish. I don't read Spanish, but it, I looked up some, and then others I was able to kind of piece them together.
Right,
like, oh,
through the
I
context.
generally have this idea of what's going on. But
all right.
I definitely did some Googling.
So The Bullet Swallower, we enjoyed it, but we're ready now to move on to November, and you've got a new book for us to sink our teeth into.
And we needed something lighter. I thought, let's lighten it up. So, and it's not orange or yellow.
I know.
We've had the same
cover. Change it up. It's going to make the mantle look really good.
But it is staying on this blue vibe of the Blue Couch Book Club.
That's true.
Here we go.
Here we are. Our next book.
There it is. And what is it? Oh,
Libby Lost and Found.
Libby,
so
I like this cover.
This book has a lot of really great themes. Now there's some heaviness in there because the main character, she gets diagnosed early on in the book with early onset Alzheimer's, right?
Okay.
But she's an author and she writes a very famous children's fantasy series. So think Harry Potter, right? That's kind of the best way to kind of frame it. And as she's struggling to write this book because of her diagnosis, she connects with a fan of the book, but the fan does not know it is her. So as they are going through, they are writing this book kind of together. So it's a lot of found family, which I think is really kind of important, especially like this time of year. It's really nice to have like, yes, Thanksgiving we celebrate our families and everything, but also like found family is also really cool, when you have those people you meet and you connect with. And it definitely has some, like the Faculty Lounge, you know, deals with some heavier topics in a very light way.
Sure.
And we thought that would be a great pick. And Libby is a great protagonist.
Okay.
You're gonna love her. So.
I love the books where you can cheer for that protagonist, that you want them to do well and survive and thrive. And so
Libby, Lost and Found. There it is. There is your November book. Get it. Go to Warner Books to get your copy so that you can read along. Again, just join our Facebook club, the Blue Couch Facebook page.
Yep, Blue Couch Book Club. There we just chat, share thoughts about the book. We'll pose some questions for you. We do all of that on Facebook, but we're excited for Libby, Lost and Found. Kyle, thank you.
Thanks so
Kyle.
much.
Yeah, great to see you. We'll be right back.